This is the Gleaner's Corporate Coffee Mornings, and my guests are Brian George, President and CEO of Supreme Ventures Limited, and Sonia Davidson, Vice President of Corporate Communications. Okay, now, you have been in that nice building in New Kingston, I think, since you started. Many corporate entities eventually move into their own digs. Do you have any such plans in the future? And if not, why?
Well, certainly we made a decision to buy a piece of land downtown to look at taking part of the downtown redevelopment incentives a couple of years ago. But this is also a business that you have to balance your investments between growing a business and putting bricks and mortar. And we have not seen right now that making that next step for construction is going to be in our best interest. And that certainly would have been impacted more and more by the devaluation, because that would also increase your construction costs. We are going to be consolidating our head offices, and we will continue to be renting in the short term, and we will revisit that decision in a couple of years to determine whether or not it is opportune for us. Part of the company's strategy from a shareholder point of view was recognizing the challenges that we have no control over the share price, because that's ultimately driven by the buy in the market.
Right.
What we do have control over is the dividends. And we took a decision a couple of years ago to become a more dividend-focused company.
I noticed that.
So that we have paid consistently high dividends over the last 7 quarters. That is going to be challenged by the economics of today, by the way. But the fact is that we want people to see that if they have a Supreme Ventures share, they can expect to get a healthy dividend stream going forward. In order to do that, you need cash.
Yes.
So it's a choice between whether you use your cash for investing in the business, use your cash for paying dividends to shareholders, or use your cash to bury bricks and mortar in the ground in the short term. And we have taken the decision to focus on the shareholder and the games.
So with that in mind, then you don't see yourself having to contract staff at any time soon, because that's happening a lot these days.
When you say contraction of
Yes,
staff?
like cutting staff.
I don't like to say never, and I don't like to say no, because the reality of business is that we continue to look for efficiencies. And part of looking for efficiencies is how to manage your staff costs.
Right.
Any company president or any company that is not willing to stand up to that reality is living a dream. Any employee who does not understand that the world of today demands a much more aggressive look at costs, an aggressive look at costs, of which, as I said, staff tend to represent a significant component to it. And then they are fooling themselves. One of the things that I believe that we have to come to that reality is that staff have to be asking themselves, how can I justify my existence by helping the company's business grow? Right. Rather than how can I just sit where I am and continue to receive a check, because ultimately it will come back and bite you.
You have finally got Jamaicans to a point where they believe that, yes, somebody won $100 million and you're not lying, and it's not just somebody you paid to pose with that check. You don't have those issues anymore with your game players.
We think we have developed the credibility and the integrity that people do realize that we have winners, we have big winners, we have a lot of small winners, but we do have winners for the games. And we're seeing that with the growth of the games too, that the trust for Supreme Ventures is there. We have a lot of goodwill, and we hope that that will continue for us.
And finally, on the fun side, I remember when you just started making those big payouts, you'd see these winners in all sorts of camouflage. Why did you stop doing that and putting that in the papers?
It still happens.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Maybe the Gleaner needs to print more of it.
I haven't seen that in a while. I'll take that up with them. Or did you buy an ad recently, Brian, for that?
Yes, we do. It still happens, although we have managed to speak with some of the winners to tone it down a bit, because sometimes it would come and you really can't even see even half of the face. We've managed to, get them to tone it down. They still come with the wig and probably the dark glasses.
Do you track them to see if anybody becomes bankrupt in 6 weeks or anything like that?
No, we actually don't.
Okay.
we do the best we can when they come in, speak to them, tell them, this is a good time to make good investments and so on, but we leave them after that to handle their own funds and to make the best of it.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know you actually did that with them. Okay, good.
Yeah, man, encouraging them in financial planning is a critical component of the conversation that Sonia has. But, people develop a wide family network.
Yes.
I
when they
know.
become multimillionaires. And invariably, they do come under a lot of pressure to help, especially as times are tough. So
yes.
we do sympathize with that reality.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being my guests on the Gleaners Corporate Coffee Mornings.
No problem. This has been, about 2 months in coming?
Yes.
Yes, it was our pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
No problem.